let's talk about anode rods, because this is another thing that we do recommend that you look at during a maintenance check, and to make sure, you know, the anode rod is going to help with the life of the water heater. Now, all of these steps do, but this is very important when it comes to the life of the water heater.
Well, let's look at why water heaters might fail prematurely.
Exactly.
Okay, the reason that a water heater would fail prematurely is because the water quality in that particular area usually eats up the anode rod faster than normal.
Right.
And now after a shorter period of time, say 4, 5, 6 years, now you've got corrosion that's going on in that tank. If it was just a depleted anode rod and that was the only issue, then you probably wouldn't have a premature leaking tank. But that's usually not the only issue. Not only do you have an anode rod that's being depleted faster because of chemicals that are in the water or from where they get the water from to begin with, but you're also looking at a situation where you're going to end up with high water pressure and thermal expansion.
Right.
And it's really those three things, okay? It is a depleted anode rod, high water pressure, and thermal expansion. Those are the three things that cause water heaters to leak prematurely. Those are the three things that kill toilet valves, ice makers, dishwashers, washing machines, washing machine hoses, and other parts of the plumbing system. So you want to check that anode rod every couple of years. Now, every owner's manual is slightly different because the product is slightly different, and I would advise anybody doing maintenance on a water heater to look at the specific maintenance schedule that's associated with that particular water heater. What the advice we're giving is kind of general.
Right.
But generally, I would want to look at an anode rod the first 2 or 3 years, you know, to see what that's looking like.
What the depletion rate is on that.
Try to get a feel for it, and I think that you could probably get a feel for the depletion rate in the community that you're working in.
Right.
Especially if you're working on just 1 or 2 water systems, you should be able to tell, just generally speaking, how long anode rods last in your area.
Right.
But this is a new anode rod, and it is made from magnesium or aluminum.
Okay.
And you can tell it's nice and shiny, and that's the new one. And then after a few years service, if all is well, it's going to look like this. Now, it doesn't look quite as nice, and it does have a coating of lime on there, which is not a bad thing. That's not too much lime. And there's plenty of metal here.
Right.
Okay, so this anode rod is doing its job. Now, if in many cases, after 5, 6, 10 years, you might pull that anode rod and all you see is a stainless steel wire. That's all that's left of it. There is no aluminum or magnesium. That's the metals that protect the tank.
Exactly.
They're completely gone. Now, one way you can see this for yourself is take water heaters that are leaking and pull the anode rod out of them. Now, I can tell you in advance what you're going to find. You're going to find this wire, if you're lucky, and in many cases, you know, even the stainless steel wire, which actually shouldn't be attacked at all, is going to be eaten up.
Yeah, and especially if you have water heaters that are leaking prematurely, you know, during the warranty period, or it didn't last as long as the customer expected.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Okay. The way to extend the life of a water heater is to make sure that has an anode rod in it that has active metal on it. And whatever that schedule is in your area is just whatever that schedule is, okay? With one exception, and that's water softeners.
Okay.
If you have a water softener, we would recommend checking the anode rod annually because water softeners really, it also depends on your water conditions plus the water softener. So I can't say as a general rule, in every case, it's always the water softener. But in most places, the natural water chemicals plus the water softener kind of conspire to eat up the anode rod very early. And so we recommend checking the anode rod once a year if the system has a water softener, and you'll have to replace the anode rod a lot more frequently than you would if it's not on a water softener.
Trusted and professional, Casey's Plumbing Service.